Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is PA. It is January 24th, 2023. The time now is 11:08 a.m. Eastern Time. Today, we're going to be talking about the situation that took place in California. Actually, the several incidents, mass shootings that took place in California, and how the solar system and what's taking place in the cosmos may have an even more dangerous effect on the emotions of humans on the planet. And the reason that I'm saying this is because over the past week, we've been preparing for a cycle increase in the sun. The sun is starting to become more active. It's going through another cycle of hyper activity. And it's supposed to be a major thing. So we understand that the sun affects what happens on Earth, just like the moon affects what happens on Earth. Not only do we have an active sun right now, and that's getting prepared to get even more active as the weeks and months go on, but we have the moon getting the closest to the planet. So let me go ahead and read you this article so you can understand what I'm saying. And a lot of people may not agree with what I'm talking about. They may disagree. They may not believe that this is affecting us, but it is. It's affecting us in a way that we can't understand. So, two massive active regions on the sun have rotated into the Earth's view. Scientists use sound waves in the sun to predict the active region's arrival. So we're getting prepared to experience a solar increase, maybe a solar flare. And what they're saying is that the solar activity increased on January 13th as massive active regions of the sun rounded its east limb to face Earth. So the sun right now, the active part is facing Earth. And that's dangerous for us. The location of the active regions designated by NOAA 13169 and 13170 had been predicted previously by the Global Oscillation Network Group, a network of telescopes across Earth that continuously monitor the sun. The newly visible active regions join other current active regions facing Earth. So we have many regions that are flaring up that are facing us right now. NOAA has 13190 and 13191 and 13192, which span the sun's northern and southern hemispheres. So observations from the GONG, operated by the National Science Foundation, had also suggested that as these active regions turn to face Earth, our planet would witness an increase in explosive solar events, including several M-class and C-class solar flares. The prediction was also confirmed as the sun engaged in a violent display of solar flares, which fortunately have thus far posed no risk to Earth aside from minor radio blackouts associated with M-class flares. GONG's far-side imaging gave us about 2-week heads up that two large active regions would soon appear on the Earth's side of the sun, increasing the potential for large flares and other solar activity that could negatively impact Earth. And what they're saying is it's like getting an early warning of possible freezing temperatures in spring. The weather forecast may have some large uncertainties, but one can start preparing to take mitigating actions to save their flowering orchid from freezing. GONG relies on a technique called heliosimic holography. So the huge active regions of the sun now facing the Earth have previously produced coronal mass ejections, that's CMEs, but none directed toward Earth so far. CMEs are explosive outbursts of plasma and charged particles capable of carrying billions of tons of material from the sun at speeds of hundreds of miles. The CMEs can be harmful to astronauts and space technology, and if these strongly magnetic plasma bursts lash Earth's protective magnetic bubble, the magnetosphere, they can create a disturbance that sends particle radiation into the upper layers of the Earth's atmosphere. Not only this, it can affect life on Earth, on the ground. Now, I know many scientists won't tell you this because they don't want to panic people, but it can affect us on the ground. Why am I reading this? Because again, we're starting to see a lot of crazy activity amongst humans. More and more, it's getting, increased. A lot of people they don't believe that the solar system can affect the life on Earth, which is a wrong way to think about how life works and the ecosystem of things. Okay? If the sun is acting up and is sending out flares, basically the sun is having temper tantrums and is sending out that energy towards the Earth, we can expect to be affected by it physically, mentally, energetically. Not only are we having solar flares that can probably cause damage to the Earth, you also have the moon coming to its closest point to the Earth since the Dark Ages. Or excuse me, the Middle Ages. So they're talking about on January 21st of 2023, the moon, the closest new moon since the Middle Ages. So the moon came the closest since almost several hundred years. So according to our calculations, on January 21st, 2023, the new moon will be at its closest distance to the Earth for the last 992 years. The next time the new moon is close to the Earth will be 345 years from now. So almost 1,000 years we haven't seen the moon get this close to the Earth. And then on top of that, we have possible CMEs and an extreme cycle of the sunburst or solar flares directly aiming at the Earth, which we haven't had in the past. All these things are going to cause chaos to the animal life, and we're considered part of the animal kingdom, to the human life on Earth. What does this mean? Quote unquote, meant an extreme increase in mental illness, rage, mental disturbances, physical disturbances, energetic disturbances. And now I'm getting to what happened in California. Again, a lot of people will call this, this is, it's coincidence. It's not really possible for this stuff to affect you. We need to snap out of that frame of mind and thinking. It will affect you. We're part of a universal ecosystem. What happens out there affects what happens here. What happens here affects what happens out there. So you have 3 mass shootings in less than a week or within a week in the same area. Okay? In the same state. 3 mass shootings. You had the mass shooting that took place on the Lunar New Year. And by the way, the Lunar New Year, the representation of the Lunar New Year in ancient Asia, one of the main characters is the beast. Okay? It's a dragon. So a lot of people don't think about the occult connection to what's taking place when people are losing their mental state. And it's all energetic. People will not put this together because it's energetic. It's something that you can't see, and many people don't understand. What took place on Lunar New Year's was driven by the cosmos, and it was driven by the energy realm or the spiritual realm. This actually happens to us. We are manipulated and affected if we're not in control of our emotions. This is why in my other channel, I keep mentioning that we have to gain control of our emotions, because we're going to be affected by energy. We're going to be affected by, the changes in atmosphere. We're going to be affected by the spiritual realm if we're not in control and if we're not grounded, quote unquote, grounded. There's a reason why people say you have to ground yourself. So you had 10 people killed and 10 people wounded a few days ago. That was 3 days ago, right? Or 2 days ago, excuse me. By a 72-year-old man. We don't know the reasons why he did it. There's, speculation on why he did it. But we're starting to see more and more these mass shootings. And there's many different reasons why this is happening. But we can put this together by saying there's activity happening in the solar system. There's activity happening in the moon, right? Everybody talks about when the new moon or the full moon is out, people act crazy. Well, the moon was the closest that there's ever been in almost 1,000 years. So that's affecting the mental state of individuals, of animals, of life on Earth. On top of that, you have the CMEs. This is compounded energy disturbing the life on Earth, the mind, the spirit, the soul, the body, and then whatever other problems we humans have based on our life experience. So as this is happening, we have to understand that it's very important we gain control of our emotions. We have to, because it's only going to get worse. It is all coming together, and we're seeing it come together. It's not like we can't see it. We can see something is going on. We just don't know. We want to dismiss it as, this crazy stuff. People are just copycatting. People are just, acting crazy. It's not. There's a reason, and there's a method to the madness. There's something affecting someone somewhere, or a group of people, or an area in a region. People are being affected. What is that? What is taking place? Why are people acting like crazy animals? We gotta have the conversation. Just imagine the animal kingdom, okay? When animals feel something is wrong, they feel energy, okay? They go based off their magnetic connection, or the electromagnetic connection of the Earth. When they feel something crazy happening, or something coming on, or something happening, they go crazy. They lose their mind. We've seen this over and over. They act erratic. They go, it's like they lose their mind. If a human does this, we call them crazy and put them in a mental institution. But when an animal does this, we start analyzing why they're doing it. And then we always come to find out that the animals acting erratic is because they sensed, or something happened to their electromagnetic field that caused them to go insane, or to, panic and go crazy. You can apply this same thing to humans, except we express it in different ways, right? Because we're supposedly, our ability to think, we're totally different. We express it in different ways. If you don't know how to handle your emotions, if something upsets you and you're weak in that, you do crazy things like mass shootings. You start getting ideas in your mind and in your brain, and you start taking actions that you wouldn't normally take action on. So you have the shooting in Monterey Park, California. Then you have last night or yesterday, you have another mass shooting in California with this guy, Northern California. He shoots 8 people. Another old Asian guy. And he was arrested yesterday. Went ahead and just shot up 8 people in California. What are the chances? Then you have another shooting. Let me see where it is. And by the way, I just want you to pay attention to the occult meaning of all this, right? The first shooting, first of all, let's recap for those of you that arrived. We're having solar flares. The solar flares are the CMEs, the part of the sun that's most active right now, the cycle that's beginning, that's becoming extremely dangerous for the Earth, is now facing the Earth. And they found many regions. This started on January 13th. Numbers matter, okay? Numerology matters. Even if you don't believe in this, it doesn't matter, okay? Numerology matters, signs matter, meanings matter, colors matter. These CMEs, or these active regions in the sun that are beginning the cycle, new cycle, are facing the Earth. Scientists are worried about that. We're having flares. They're warning of upcoming more activity on the planet. Okay, so you can expect explosions from the sun to hit the Earth. We don't know how extreme it's going to be, but we're probably going to get a lot of that. Then you have the closest part of the closest moon, full moon, in the last 1,000 years. Okay, these are signs for all you people that love signs in the sky. These are signs of things to come. The closest moon that we've had in 1,000 years. We know about how crazy people act during the full moon and the new moon. They go insane. Then you have, I'm going to add this because today and the last few months I've been feeling this, and now other people in Florida are feeling this. They just don't understand what it is. Okay. For the last few months in Florida, there's been a satellite sending out electrical magnetic pulses to the state. Now that I understand other people are experiencing this, and by the way, these are random people. I had someone in my family come up to me and say, hey, there's this, people are asking these questions. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And I saw the comments, and it's on a completely different platform, like a local platform of people, something that has nothing to do with anything. It's a community platform. And they were talking about they're feeling some type of electromagnetic pulse. They don't call it an electromagnetic pulse, but what they're describing is the electromagnetic pulse that comes from a particular satellite, or even from the solar system. But I'm assuming it's a satellite. They're stating that they're feeling this energy and they don't know what it is or where it's coming from. This is in Florida. So this is what I'm going to say here is for the government of Florida, the politicians of Florida, local and state. You might want to look into if we have the equipment to find out where these pulses are coming from. Because the pulses that are hitting South Florida, because I'm in South Florida, can cause earthquakes, can cause buildings to collapse, can cause a pressure on, a gas line or a gas line in the house. It can cause explosions because if you're bombarding something with electromagnetics or whatever type of microwave pulse, and you're doing this for, hours on end every day to the same locations, you can cause sinkholes, earthquakes, explosions, collapses. It is common sense. So for any government official, if by any chance you hear this live stream or you hear, this information, you might want to look into what is happening with these magnetic pulses or electrical magnetic pulses that are hitting Florida. Because something is happening. And I felt this a week ago in the atmosphere. So we have to be very careful. So you have the half moon. Okay, that's the occult giveaway. Half Moon Bay shooting, which was the one after the Monterey Park shooting. Then you have another shooting that happened, I think it was last night as well, in Oakland, California, another mass shooting. I think it's this one. I think this one's it. 8 people shot. Then you had another shooting in you start seeing all these mass shootings in other states. So I started to see, okay, this is in California. Obviously, California is having something going on, right? They just came off the massive floods, right? That's activity that's happening in the planet, that's causing chaos and destruction. Now they're having these shootings back to back. And I wanted to see what other places. So you have Louisiana just had a mass shooting at a nightclub, and you had another location that had a mass shooting. So you're starting to see this pattern appear across the nation. And if you start analyzing what's happening across the nation, you're most likely going to see this pattern across other nations, because this type of energy and chaos is not restricted by borders. You're going to start seeing this elsewhere. It is very important we get grounded. It is very important we start dealing with our emotions, whether it's anger, depression, whatever erratic behavior you have, maybe addictions. You have to get a hold of this, because we're going to go through a cycle right now that it's going to seem insanity more than what we've seen before. You're going to see violence in a way that you haven't seen it before. And again, this stuff comes in cycles, because the solar system is cycles. The earth is has cycles itself. We're going to have to be very strong during these periods. And again, the Lunar New Year, ancient times, right? The Lunar New Year is for, it's giving thanks, and it's ritual. You have rituals. Back in the days, every culture had a ritual where you sacrificed to the gods, and you did offerings to the gods for a good year of crops, for a good year of luck, all that. If you actually think about this, what took place in California this past week has been sacrifices to whatever gods of the Lunar New Year. And there's a story behind the Lunar New Year. There's a myth behind the Lunar New Year. Okay, and that myth is the history of it is the yearly beast. Okay, there's a myth in Asia or there's a story in Asia where they talk about the beast, the monster. Okay, and let me go ahead and read you a little bit about what they said in ancient times. And by the way, they used to sometimes sacrifice humans to the beast in Asia, like in any other culture. So the earliest recorded form of the ancient Chinese lunar calendar, can be seen in the 14th century BC during the reign of Shang dynasty. The calendar operated as a religious, dynastic, and social guide, and changed structures according to which emperor held power. The intricate calendar's parameters were set according to the lunar phases. Pay attention. Hold on, let me turn this off. The calendar operated as a religious, dynastic, and social guide and changed structure according to which emperor held power. The intricate calendar's parameters were set according to the lunar phases and solar solstice and equinoxes. The Chinese New Year traditionally began with the new moon, which occurs between the end of January and the end of February and lasts about 15 days or until the full moon arrives. The early recordings of Chinese New Year induce sacrificial ceremonies in honor of gods and ancestors at the end of each year. This ritual, like many old traditions, was steeped with stories and myths, the most popular of these being the story of the mythical beast Nian Shu, or called Neon. Nianshu means the yearly beast that arrived every eve of the new year to eat livestock, crops, and even humans or persons. To prevent this beast from causing destruction, people would put food outside of their doors for Neon. According to the story, some people's fear of Neon caused them to flee into remote mountains to avoid the terror of the monster. People lived in fear of the monster until one day when an old man with the white hair and a ruddy complexion visited a village. The man said they no longer had to live in fear because he figured out that Neon was scared of the color red and loud noises. After the discovering this information, the monster never showed up again, and thus began the tradition of red lanterns, red clothing, and cracking bamboo, an early form of firecrackers. So that is their myth for the Lunar New Year. So in a way, there was a sacrifice. These men probably had no idea. They just went based off their emotions. We don't know. We don't know what's in their mind or what the reasons were. The spiritual realm or the energy realm works in weird ways. Okay, they influence people in many ways. They manipulate them in many ways, and people take actions for the outcome of something that they have no clue about. Again, we have to consider the sun is affecting us. The moon is obviously affecting us. And the energy realm is affecting us. On top of that, there are certain people that do certain practices in governments that are piling on, and they don't make things any better for us. They're piling on the situation. They're piling on the energetic field. It's a compound thing. And once that thing blows up, once the rubber band snaps, it's going to be total chaos. And for those that are not going to, that were grounded and are not going to be involved in the chaos, you got to get really grounded. You got to analyze your emotions. You got to analyze your feelings. You got to make sure that if you're arguing with someone, you just stop the argument, because it can escalate very easily. Because energy, if you have energy manipulation, you will take it to the next level when you would have never done it otherwise. We're at that state. At that stage. And this is not about superstition or nothing like that. This is energy work. This is the energetic fields. This is, whether you believe in spirit or not, or the science of energy or not, it's all the same thing. We're all energy beings living in an energetic universe, dealing with energetic entities, which we call spiritual. And it's affecting every part of the cosmos, the earth, and the people. And your emotions and your thoughts. We have to get grounded. It's about to get real, real crazy. Really crazy. And the reason that I'm talking about this is because we have to become aware. If you're aware and you have that in the back of your mind, you are equipped to handle yourself. Because now you can analyze, is this me? Is there something else manipulating me? Am I being directed? Is there something that's bombarding me that's not really me? You can begin to handle those things, because energy is real. And people out there can manipulate energy and affect others. It's not only technology. Human beings can do this too. So we want to make sure that we don't allow these feelings or energetics guide us to a place that we don't want to go. We want to be in control at all times. So don't let the emotions get the best of you. And if you do get into an argument, or you do get into, some type of thing, some chaotic thing, always remember this in the back of your mind. Stop. Always remember, stop. Breathe. Analyze what you're doing in that moment and walk away. That's what we need to do. And don't dismiss everything as, oh, that person's crazy, that person's crazy, that person's crazy, don't dismiss it, because this is not what's happening right now. This is something else. And it's good if you're aware and then you make others aware in the process. So I just wanted to share that with you. And I've been monitoring the satellites. There's thousands of them that have been going over Florida. Again, if you're a politician, make sure you figure out what's pulsating in South Florida, because we need to find out, because it could cause an earthquake, sinkholes, and all these other, and it can cause people to start having mental problems, meaning erratic behavior. All right, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit all notification for future live streams and videos. If you want to support monetarily, you can support me at Cash App, Patreon, Bitcoin. The links are in the description. Stay safe. Stay in control. Ground yourself. It's about to get really, really chaotic. And you don't want to be those people that lose it. Love you. Talk to you soon. Bye.